Hey guys, it's Woody the Unexceptional Gamer, and so yesterday I put up the March Madness Selection Sunday video, and I'm pretty excited about it. I think we did a really good job with the video. We're trying to bring some high production quality to this thing, but I thought I'd use this video to do a little Q&A because there's a lot of questions and comments that came from the first video. So let's attack this right now. So by far the most popular piece of feedback I got so far is why was this person in there and why wasn't that person in there? And in my spot, it's kind of a damned if you do, damned if you don't with regards to the channel size. So let's talk about that for a little bit. There are 8 channels in this thing with less than 1,000 subs. There are 15 channels in this thing with less than 5,000 subs. So our goal is to have this mix of big channels and little channels. Our goal is to have these guys compete purely based on entertainment value, based on video quality, and go head to head. I think it will be kind of exciting at some point when we see like a number 15 seed knock off a 2 or a number 16 seed knock off a number 1, and then all the subs will find this new person, get exposed to him, etc. Or we'll see a number 1 seed. Some of our number 1 seeds are fantastic. Go through and probably make it pretty far in this thing, and just show that the reason that his channel is so successful is that he does a lot of good work. I think we're going to see some of that. So this thing was never meant to be a showcase of 64 tiny channels going up against each other, and it was never meant to be the very biggest 64 guys going up against each other. It was meant to be a mix. And the other thing you want to keep in mind is that some of the very, very biggest channels on YouTube didn't enter, right? It wasn't like I, didn't want, say, a CNanners in this thing. CNanners didn't apply, which is cool, right? CNanners, he's got a full-time job. He has a channel that he runs on top of that. And I'm not begrudging anyone. I don't want to name names in this, but I will say that I looked through, and some of the guys that are being asked for the most, some of the guys with the heaviest request load in the comment section of the Sunday video, I actually reached out to personally, and they weren't interested in being in March Madness. So that's okay. I don't have a problem with it. But keep in mind, it's not like I held them out. So everyone in this competition is good, though, right? We did find some good smaller channels. There were actually over 2,000 entries in this thing. And it wasn't me. Yosef did most of the work on the selection. But he went through and looked at every single video along the way. And some of them you don't have to watch to the end, right? Some of them, they're shaky cameras pointed at TV screens, and we're like, all right, it's probably not one of the best 64 on YouTube. Some of them took a lot more attention. We watched more than one video to see what the channel was really about, and that's that. There are a couple of channels, by the way, that like their core focus is making a name for themselves by hating on bigger channels, and that includes me. So some of those guys are wondering why they didn't make it in. And the truth is, like, look, man, when your channel devotes itself to burning bridges, then you're going to have a hard time finding friends when things like this come along. Let it be a life lesson for you, and stop being that kind of guy. One thing I want to tell you guys about that I thought was pretty cool was some of the really big name commentators that you'd like to see in here actually reached out to me over Skype and apologized for your behavior. They wrote to me and said, man, I'm sorry that my subs are acting the way that they are. And, for me, like, I think it just comes with the territory. There's going to be hot water on Selection Sunday. There's going to be some hot water or some upset people. Wait, look at this. Nice. There's going to be some hot water or for some upset people when their favorite guy gets knocked out, and for that reason, we'll probably keep the judges anonymous. But yeah, I just wanted to pass along that while you might be really upset that your favorite commentator isn't in there, especially if he's huge, they opted not to be in there on their own, and it wasn't like I denied some guy with 100,000 plus subs and said I don't want you in here. I would have loved to have had them in there and let them prove their worth against a small guy. It's just that that's not what they're doing. They're running their own channel. They're doing their own thing. It's all good. Another question that we got a lot was fag. So people wanted to know how the Federation of Asshole Gamers didn't get in. They submitted a pretty epic video. It had 1 million views on it. And, to be honest, I would argue that wasn't the only mistake that we made, right? That it's hard to look at 2,000 comments and accurately choose the top 64. And that's what happened. So Oh, and then there's another one, Mr. Phantasmo, right? So with Mr. Phantasmo, that was another mistake that we made. What happened in that situation was he had a lot of fan support submit his videos, and somewhere in the mix, we didn't realize that he actually entered. Like we thought that that it was just people who liked his videos that wanted him to be in there. We didn't realize that he wanted to be in there himself. And once we found that out, we put him in there. So one guy, his name is C Nasty. He's a great guy, great commentator. But his vacation schedule conflicts with being in this competition. So we backfilled his spot with Mr. Phantasmo. He's in there now. I know there's a lot of guys that are going to be happy about that because he's so popular. And then the other one, like I was saying, Federation of Asshole Gamers. Somewhere along the way, like I look at there, and this is supposed to be 64 great channels. I would argue that there's probably even a guy or two in this thing who don't put out the same kind of stuff. Now, they threatened to go to war, and Joseph and I are both of the nature where we didn't want to buckle to threats. Like, we like to stand tall when that sort of thing happens. But if you look at their channel, they've done a lot of groundbreaking stuff. They're talking to other people. They were the first to do that, teasing guys in a particular way. They do skits. They do a lot of stuff, and they've been innovative in a lot of areas. And I think their channel content alone warrants them being in there. So it wasn't really buckling to the war thing. But if you look at the kind of work that they can put out, if a spot opens up, then we'll probably include them. There's another one, Miss Danielle. I feel terrible on this one on a personal level. Like, I showed her some of our internal comments about how excited we were about having her in it, and didn't say she was in it, but it said it was looking good and kind of implied she was in. And then come Selection Sunday, we left her out. Why did we leave her out? It just, I don't know. I'm going to say maybe I had bad record keeping. I made a mistake in there. And so if a spot opens up, probably what we'll do is a play-in game to include some of the channels that really belong in there. But, for one reason or another, we didn't nail it. So that's how that goes. With 64 people in this competition, I think there's a good chance that a spot will open up and that we'll be able to work them in. All right, and this question mostly came from the people who were in it, and they wanted to know what kind of videos that they're supposed to be submitting. And that, to me, is another exciting thing. My advice to the competitors is to submit the kind of videos that they do best, right? Some guys do, map knowledge and teaching and use overlays and do that sort of thing really, really great. And if that's you, I'd probably roll with that. Some guys do montages. Some guys do funny skits. There's one guy who calls prostitutes and tries to convince them to come to his house, and it's really pretty funny stuff. If that's you, then maybe I'd do that. The only limits we're putting on people is that they can't use copyright stuff. So if you do a montage, you need a royalty-free song, or if you do a montage to a song, it needs to be royalty-free. And no pictures of Bart Simpson or whatever. You're gonna have to. I can't take a strike on my channel because you want Thunderstruck in your background. I understand. Love the song too, but that's that. If you're a competitor and you were chosen in this, then shoot a personal message on Ukrainian Lim's channel. I'll throw his link in the description, and let him know that you're able to do this and get us your video. We'll start working with you on how to submit the videos and when they're due and things like that. The first one's due pretty soon, so keep that in mind. One question that people had were, how do you pick the winners, right? So it's not based on KD or whatever. It's based on video entertainment quality. And we have a pool of 7 judges. We'll probably be using them in teams of 3 or 5 to vote on the best videos. So here's how I see this going down. We'll put up 2 videos back to back, render them in the same video, but there'll be 2 people in it. And then the judges will watch that, they'll vote, and the judge, and then people will comment on it, and the judges will look at the comments, to influence the voting, but the viewers won't actually pick the winner. And the reason for that is I once did a contest where I asked people to pick who I did a dual com with, and then the biggest channel won because they had the most fan support. So we're looking for people who do the best work, not necessarily the people who are the biggest. That's why we have judges. We'll probably keep the judges anonymous because I think there's going to be a lot of hate and negative feedback that come their way, and I'll just take that myself instead of pushing it onto my judges. But if they want to be known, I'd be happy to expose them. They just need to be prepared for the ruffled feathers that inevitably come when you make a choice like this on the internet.